Hey everyone, today we're going to learn how to factor a quadratic trinomial when the leading coefficient is 1. Alright, here it is. Hey guys, so there's a lot of memorization tricks out there for factoring, but if you really want to develop a deep conceptual understanding of what's actually happening and why it's happening, then it's really important that you understand the distributive property, particularly in the context of multiplying linear binomials. So just a quick recap, if I have two linear binomials and I'm multiplying them together, the distributive property tells me that x times x is going to give me x squared, x times -3 will give me the -3x, 5 times x will give me the 5x, and the +5 times the -3 will give me the -15. And then you go ahead and combine like terms in the middle here, and the -3x plus the 5x will give you the +2x. And so generally what happens when you multiply linear binomials is you typically get a quadratic trinomial, and we'll talk about cases where that doesn't happen, but for purposes of this video, this is what usually happens, right? You multiply two linear binomials, you get a quadratic trinomial. And so when you factor these quadratic trinomials, it's very, very important that you understand that they came from a product of linear binomials, and you'll see how that helps us as we think about these. So here I have 5 scenarios, and let's go ahead and get into them here. So the first one here, we have x squared plus 7x plus 12. So again, when you're factoring this, step 1 for me is to create 2 sets of parentheses, obviously, because we know it's coming from a product of binomials. So I want one binomial here and one binomial here. And then think of this as 4 spaces, right? Each binomial gets 2 spaces. Something goes here, something goes there, something goes here, something goes there. Just like how up here there's 4 things, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so the first thing you have to realize is that this first thing in this binomial is going to multiply the first thing in this binomial to get this. All right, and then that's how we know that we need an x in both of these. Because again, you're thinking about the distributive property. You're thinking that this times this is going to give me that. So when your leading coefficient is 1, meaning when you just see an x squared out here, a 1x squared, you know you're going to have an x and an x in here. So that's step 1. Now, step 2 is to think about what your signs have to be. So this is one of the trickier parts, is deciding what your signs are, which ones are positive, which ones are negative, are they both positive, are they both negative? And how you do that is you think of the fact that this number here is going to multiply this number here to get you this number, right? Because of the distributive property. So we should be thinking, well, how, if I multiply this, whatever goes in this space, times whatever goes in this space, and I'm getting a positive number, well then my signs either both have to be positive or they both have to be negative. Because there's only 3 options here. Either they're both positive, they're both negative, or we could have one of each. But if we had one of each, then there's no way these two could multiply to a positive number. And so I know they're either both going to be positive or they're both going to be negative. And so to figure out which combination it is, I'm going to look over here. Because I know that when the distributive property happens, I'm going to have to combine like terms. And the only way I can add to a positive is if they're both positive, right? If I add 2 negatives together, there's no way that I can end up with a positive 7x here. And so I know my signs have to be positive. All right. And now the final step here is to think about the factor pair of 12. So what multiplies to 12? that will also add to 7. Because again, if you think about it, the 5 and the 3 multiplied to the 15, well, the 5 and the negative 3, sorry, multiplied to negative 15, and then they combined to 2. So what's going to multiply to 12 but combine to 7? So since I know they're both positive, 1 and 12 would be 13, 4 and 3 would be 7. So I know it has to be 4 and 3. And then that's the first one factored. This is the factored form of this trinomial. Alright, so now let's go ahead to this one. Again, first step is to get your parentheses down, because you know it's going to be two binomials multiplied together, and then put an x in each, because x times x gives me the x squared. And now step 2 again is to think about what your signs are. So again, if I'm going to this times this is going to multiply to a positive number. So again, they either both need to be positive or they both need to be negative. And since I don't know which combination yet, I can now look over to here and I see that I need a negative value. And I know that two positive numbers added together won't give me a negative value. So it has to be double negatives here. And then we'll go through the same process, factor pairs of 24. That will combine to 11. So, for example, will negative 12 plus negative 2 give me negative 11? No. Negative 4 plus negative 6 is negative 10, so that doesn't work. Turns out it's 8 and 3 here. Okay, so negative 8 times negative 3 gives me the positive 24, and the negative 8x and the negative 3x will combine to the negative 11x. Alright, again, sets of parentheses. We know an x belongs in both of them. Now, it's actually really nice when you have a negative constant term, because you know the only possible way for two numbers to multiply to a negative number is if you have one of each. So we can actually rule out these combinations right away, because we know that the only way to multiply to negative 20 is if we have a positive number times a negative number. And it doesn't matter which sign you put in which, because that'll just change which numbers you put into them. So the order doesn't matter yet. And now the factor pairs of 20. Okay. Now, we need the factor pairs of 20 that will combine to a positive 1. Since we don't see a coefficient here, we know that's a 1x, right? But we also need to consider that one of them's positive and one of them's negative. So basically think to yourself, will 20 and 1 ever combine to 1 if I make one or the other positive or negative? And the answer is no, because I could only get 21, I could get 19, I could get negative 19, right? But none of those are even close to 1. 10 and 2, well, 10 minus 2 is 8, 10 plus 2 is 12, 2 minus 10 is negative 8, so that doesn't work either. Turns out it's 4 and 5. Now here's where the order matters. I need these to add to a positive 1x. So, for example, if I put the 4 here, I'd get a positive 4x, and if I put the 5 there, I'd get a negative 5x, and that would combine to negative 1x. I want a positive 1x, so I need to make sure that the 5 is positive, and then the 4 is negative, because now I can get the positive 5x minus 4x, which will give me the positive x. Alright, a couple more here. Again, I see a negative sign here. I know this times this has to multiply to a negative, so I know I have one of each here. And now the factor pairs of 14. Okay, there's only a couple factor pairs of 14. And now they need to combine to a negative 5x. So again, order does matter for this. And it turns out in order to get the negative 5x, I need my 7 to be negative and my 2 to be positive, because then I have the negative 7x plus the 2x, which will give me the negative 5x. And then finally we have a special case here. So again, starts out the same way. I see a plus sign here, which means this times this has to multiply to a positive, and there are two ways that's possible. They could both be positive or they could both be negative. So since I don't know yet, I'm going to look at this sign, and I see that they need to combine to a negative. So two positives isn't going to do that for me, so they both have to be negative. And now the factor pairs of 25, that will combine to negative 10. So there's no way 25 and 1 will do that. So it's got to be 5 and 5 here. And this is what we call a perfect square trinomial. Because this trinomial can be expressed as a binomial times itself. So notice how none of these in none of these examples, the binomials match. They were two distinct binomials. But sometimes we run into a case where the binomials do match, and so we call this here a perfect square trinomial, and then we can rewrite the factored form more concisely as x minus 5 the quantity squared. So all of these three things mean the exact same thing. Alright, and with that said, guys, it's been demonstrated.